Charlie Brown sings. Is it Alamo?
Good afternoon. 2 days away from Thanksgiving. Yay! And yeah, if you didn't check your bank today, we did get paid today early. Yeah, we did. Okay, that's it. I think I was down to 35 cents. Let's get 35 cents all right. Well, hey, how about a big rousing ovation for our football team making a play? We had a record crowd at AT&T Stadium, and they made us proud, and it was a great, great year. Lots to be thankful for, and a good season. Okay, Kim.
Sad and good. Laura Susan, where's Laura?
I'm here.
Okay, Laura is moving to Louisiana next week. Aw, good luck. But we have a new replacement. Rachel Sparks is a new replacement for her. So welcome to the town.
Welcome, Rachel. Thank you. And best of wishes to you, Laura. Enjoy your Louisiana.
It's Louisiana, you'll love it.
Yes. Anybody else want to chime in? Okay. All right. So a reminder, we're having Thanksgiving lunch tomorrow. Okay. During all lunches in the library. So please carve out some time to go by and have lunch during your lunch break tomorrow. And our boys basketball team tips off. Here we go. Tips off Friday, home against the Volunteers. We have a very strong girls and boys basketball team. I know you're going to enjoy following them as they get off to a good start. The girls beat Bell, they beat MacArthur, and they finished third in the recent tournament. So we're off to a great start, and the boys are gearing up tomorrow night, Friday night. Okay, all right. Leia's going to have it for testing, review testing for you. You know that when we come back, we, EOC, Chris and Leia are going to do this. When we come back, we have booth that Monday. EOC testing for hundreds of kids, Monday, Tuesday, and that week, okay? So enjoy your week off. You know, Arlington has to go Monday and Tuesday, so thank you, GBISD. All week off. Yes. All right.
All right.
Live in the moment.
I want to make this as painless as possible, but that is next to impossible, as I'm sure you know. Okay? Any questions that you have, individual little testings, mistakes that you might see, just shoot me an email, and then I'll fix them later so that we all don't have to sit and listen to it. Hey, seriously, you know how it goes, right?
The biggest thing you need to check for as far as mistakes are concerned is to make sure that each period you only see your name once. If you see your name in two places during the same period, just shoot Chris an email so we can get that covered.
And then also, please make sure that if I didn't give you a test booklet, but you see your name on there, or a manual, just make sure you just grab one on the way out there. Or you probably want to do it in a little while, so you can come look on. All right, so when we return from break, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we've got all of our tests that week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are our biggest days. We're going to do regular lunches plus a 1 to 1:30 lunch to accommodate all the testers. So, we are not going to release students back to their class once they are done testing. It creates a logistical nightmare for the cafeteria staff. So if they can predict that we're going to have 200-something kids or 300 kids on Monday, then that's what they want. So we're going to keep the kids in class until they are done testing, and then they will go to lunch from 1 to 1:30. Okay? All right. Same goes for Tuesday and Wednesday. We will have makeups Thursday and Friday for students who have missed, but we'll take care of that when the time comes. Goodman and Stone in all of chemistry, you are being displaced. Just please make sure that you note that. We'll put a sign on that exterior, or the door that blocks off the L hallway to make sure that the students aren't trying to go down there. Well, Stone, you're going to be down there anyways, I guess, right? Okay. Assignments are on the front page, and then the second page, and then the top of the third page. things that need to be done today, you've already signed in. At the end of the training, you're going to sign your test administrator oath, and then if you are giving an oral administration, you're going to have to sign that as well. Okay, and that's at the bottom of the oath that you took on the way in. This counts as a training for the whole year, so we don't have to do this. We'll just kind of go over logistics for the spring, but in terms of official training, this counts right here. Okay. By tomorrow afternoon, if we are using your room for testing, all of your instructional materials need to be covered and removed from the walls. Your room should have 30 desks each. If they're missing, please email Kim Wilson, and the custodial staff can get some more desks. So, yes?
Can we still look at our lab tables?
Yes, that's fine, as long as they're separated. We're not putting too many kids at a lab table. And if you are testing in some of those chemistry labs and you want to go, I would strongly suggest you go in and take a look to see how the room is set up, so that you can kind of be aware that, okay, I'm going to have some kids with some lab tables. Okay? All right. Remind students to check the retest list for their testing rooms on the landing. I'm going to try to get them out by lunch tomorrow. It is critical that we get every single student who needs to test. We absolutely have to, especially our seniors. The counselors have diligently met with every single senior to point out, hey, you need to test this, you need to test that, so they are aware, but they need to go ahead and check that list for their room number and where they're going to be testing. We all know that they are not going to remember on Monday when we return from break. So encourage them to put it in their phone, set a reminder in their calendar, anything to minimize the shifting that's going to go on Monday. It's kind of going to be a nightmare, I think, to be honest, because that's our biggest testing group, and they're simply not going to remember. So you can encourage them to go check. And additionally, if you have kids, if they have any thought in their mind that they should take a test and they don't see their ID number on the wall, they have to come see me. Because some of them are like, I haven't tested, I don't see my name on the wall. I'm going to either set up in my office or outside the testing room, and this way the kids can just come in, I can look their ID up, look their scores up really quickly, and then tell them whether or not they need to test. Okay? All right. Testing days. Between 6:45 and 7:15, make sure you pick up your testing buckets from the testing room. You cannot leave your testing buckets unattended. They can't even be in a locked classroom. They have to be in a cabinet, okay, that is locked up. You can't just put it in a classroom and lock it, because there are way too many people who have a key to a classroom. At 7:15, you're going to prepare for students to arrive. When they arrive, and the faster you get this done, the smoother the testing administration will go. As soon as they come in, have them turn their cell phones off. You're going to put their phones in a clear plastic bag, and then they're going to sign an oath if they didn't have a phone. Because if anything comes up where they're found to have a phone on their person while they were testing and they lied, then we need to give the appropriate consequences. Backpacks and lunches under their desk, money and IDs in their pockets. This is key for the longer days, or for, let's say, if a room just can't start on time for whatever reason. We have to feed the kids by 1 o'clock. And if your room isn't done testing, we're going to have to stop testing, bring them to the lunchroom, and then bring them back to test. But the key is they cannot go into their backpacks once the test is started. Even if it's to get money, you can't even do it for them, okay? All right. Distribute pencils, and then you have to, if you're going to offer highlighters, scratch paper, and graph paper, if necessary, you have to do that before you read the test directions. Once the directions have been read, it is up to the student to request those materials. You can't say in the middle of a test, hey guys, by the way, I've got highlighters up here if you want them. They have to be offered before you start reading the directions. And if you've been using those strategies in class, then obviously you really want to make sure those kids have those supplies available. All right, for Algebra 1 and Biology, make sure you distribute the calculators. and then distribute the answer documents. Students should not bubble in anything except for their answers, even if any information is correct. If you want to write on a piece of paper or a sticky note that a student thinks that there's information that is wrong, especially their grade, I'm going to be fixing that as that comes in. A lot of the kids haven't rolled over to us, to the 10th grade, so a lot of them are labeled as 9th grade, so we're going to have to hand bubble that. But do not allow a student to do that. At 7:45, everyone's present. Go ahead and test mode, and we'll get to that in a second. If by 7:50 not everyone has shown up, you can go ahead and start. Okay. If kids are coming in late, we have a late testing room. We're going to use Heidi Miller's classroom as kind of our late arrival room. We're going to read the students their directions, and we'll escort them into your classroom. And you'll just have to know what time they started the test so they have the same amount of time as all the other students. All right, when testing mode starts, we're going to finalize attendance. You're going to hang it outside your door, hang out the Do Not Disturb sign, mention that your dictionaries and thesauruses are available. I don't believe we have, it's not one per student, right? I think it's one for every 5. Okay. Read the bold say directions in your manual. We'll get to that in a little bit. Ensure students are receiving the correct test booklet with their name and their ID and number on the label. And write the start time on your seating chart. At that time, you're also going to write the start and end time on the board. And then as time expires, you're going to write the time remaining and announce it at the following points. 5 hours for English 1 and English 2 only. For everything else, it's 4 hours. So 4 hours, 3, 2, 1, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 15, and so on. Actively monitoring, that means no grading, reading, lesson planning. So, I mean, if you've been here, you know that. If you're new, active monitoring means that you are constantly watching the students. Now, you don't have to walk around the whole time. You know, you can kind of sit on a stool and perch yourself and watch, but every few minutes you should be getting up and walking around and seeing what students are doing. Your computer, your cell phone should be turned on silent and put away. I mean, you can use it to check the time, but I really don't want you on your phone walking around the room texting or reading the news, whatever it may be. Same thing for desktop computers and laptops. They should be off the whole time. There's allowable verbiage from the test administrator manual. Here are 2 of the statements that you can say anytime during the test. There are 2 more in the test booklet or the manual that we'll talk about. If there's a problem, wave down a hall monitor for assistance. So if you need to use the restroom and your relief isn't scheduled to come until the end of the period, just put a sign out at the front on the door and kind of wave somebody down, and we'll help you out. If you need immediate assistance, someone will be in the testing room the whole time. It's extension 2554. When in doubt, please do not try to fix anything. So let's say you give a kid the wrong Scantron and they've started it already, call me. Don't say, okay, we'll just erase it and try to fix it. Even if it's the littlest thing. And I've been in your shoes where I'm like, oh gosh, do I really want to call and piss off the testing coordinator? I'd rather you do that than try to fix it and make it a bigger problem. Because this way, I'm aware of it, and then I can call the district if we need to fix something or do whatever. And really, 95% of the time, it's minor stuff that we can fix at the campus level, but I need to figure out what to do. All right, restroom procedure. Only allow 1 student out of your classroom at a time. You can sign, students have to sign out using the restroom log in your bucket. They'll sign in once they get to the restroom. And if you're a restroom monitor, allow only 1 student in at a time. No talking in line. Now, if the line gets really long, well, I think I take that back. We're only using faculty restrooms, so it's going to be 1 at a time anyways. All right. And if at all possible, avoid sending the students during the passing period so they're not around all the other students who are moving from class to class. I mean, obviously if it's an emergency, let the kid go. But if they can wait just a couple minutes, that would be really important. All right. Completing the test. You're going to read again the directions in the manual. Collect the test booklets and answer documents. Make sure that their test booklet number is written on the top of the answer document. You're going to bubble score code S if everything is good. And that's what it looks like over here. So up top, we've got our 12s anywhere. That's the most common mistake. People put the month. So make sure you put the day, okay, the 2-digit day of the day you were giving the test. And then over here, the score code S for score. Please do not bubble A for absent or O for do not score. We have to verify that because if a student is absent one day and shows up on Friday and we've coded it A for absent by accident and we run that through the scanner, the kid's not going to get credit for that test. So the only thing you should score or bubble is the S or leave it blank. All right. Organize the bucket in the following way. I know that's really, really detailed, all right, but it helps us organize and take in the materials fast. So answer documents in a plastic bag, in order from A to Z. Test booklets in numerical order from low to high, from top to bottom. Then the seating chart, the restroom log, the material control form, all the signs in that order, and then any other junk that we happen to throw in there can go right at the bottom. Transition between periods. Please remain in your testing room until your relief test administrator arrives. We realize that you are scheduled to be in a testing room for a period, but then you need to be in a classroom by the start of the next one. Whereas the other teacher is coming from a class and is going to the testing room. We understand that there's going to be, teachers are going to be late, and we get that. There's just no good way to cover 5 minutes and not have an absolute nightmare on our hands. So buddy up with your neighbor next door today and or tomorrow, to ensure the students who are arriving are supervised. Relief test administrators, try to wrap up your class a few minutes early if you can, just to kind of help your partner out, so that as soon as that bell rings, you can throw your stuff in your bag, go to the testing room, and just make that transition nice and smooth. Any questions at all that I might not have answered, even though I said don't ask them? Sorry. For
We have to fill out on the paper.
the
We have to give your opinions.
say it again?
The phone number, you know, on this one that she's made right down there, the phone number. 343.
1,500.
Yeah, I got the 1,500.
Okay.
We're just back over there.
Okay. Oh, I do it on time.
I have
All
a
right.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm scheduled to be in a classroom first period because I'm not
Yep.
Am I picking up testing materials?
Yes. Yeah, if you are the first one listed, you are the person who's picking up all the materials from the testing room. Winner, winner. You get to show up early. All right? I know, you're excited. Okay. Let's take a look at the testing book, the manual. Where's the drawing? You were on that list. I didn't realize you were on there. John, can you get a manual from out there? Bring it down. Thank you. Anyone else? Questions before we move on? Okay. So this training doesn't take the place of reading the manual. Now, things might change for the 2015 test, but for the most part, it's probably going to stay the same. All right, so we're going to focus on just a handful of pages. I am not going to read everything to you, okay? I can't do that. What's that? Yeah, let me read the bold words, pretty much. Okay. Page 10, start and stop times. We've already addressed that. And again, a lot of the stuff I've addressed on the kind of the logistical things, but there are kind of some details in here that we might take a look at. Announcement of time left to test. Breaks, that's huge. We're gonna try to go get some animal crackers for the kids. If you can give the crackers at the beginning, and they can eat them whenever they want. But the clock does not stop when they sit back to take a break. Same thing for when they put their head down. They think it's, nap time. They do not get that time back. Okay? It's really a case-by-case basis. If there's an emergency and a kid has to go to the nurse's office or anything like that, we will make that determination whether or not the student gets that time back. Okay? But if it's a regular restroom break or a little snack time, the clock keeps on ticking. All right, lunch. We talked about that earlier, how that's going to work here. In extended time, we will figure out where we need coverage for extended time, but again, just you can stick to that schedule, and you don't have to worry about staying late 16, test security. If you actually go to page 17, confidentiality, you cannot view, reveal, or discuss the contents of the test booklet before, during, or after the test. You can't even ask a student how they thought they did in the test. Okay, you cannot talk about the test at all whatsoever before, during, or after it's been given. Okay, please don't photocopy the test. Take a picture of it.
So I can't ask you to take up in my room later?
You cannot say, hey, how do you think the test went? Because then they're going to say, well, on the writing prompt, I felt like, and then that's when we have to cut it off. Okay? So, unfortunately, you know, as teachers, we all want to see how the students did, but we are not allowed to even ask that. Okay? If you were giving an oral administration, obviously you are reading the test to the student, and you have full access to the test booklet. Again, you are not allowed to go talk to your colleagues about what contents were in the contents of the test. Okay? All right, penalties. I'm not going to read it other than, teachers. We know that teachers have been fired across the state for helping students or putting a green M&M on their desk if it's correct and a red one if it's wrong. I just use colored sticky notes, but I don't use them. All right. We'll have you sign the oaths and the confidentiality statement. Okay, again, testing irregularities. There's a whole list of things that are considered irregularities. If you witness any of those things, just come and tell me, and we'll figure out what was going on. Especially with students with a cell phone, you can't just say, okay, hey, put it away, just like we do in class. You've got to call us, because we have to go through their phone to make sure that they didn't take a picture of it, they didn't send it, text it, whatever it may be. So that is critical that you call us right away if you catch a student with a cell phone, even if it's after the test. All right? All right, improper accounting for secure materials. Again, that's making sure you're keeping them locked up or tucked nicely under your arm from point A to point B. There's monitoring errors. So if you happen to not look, you were looking at your computer or whatever. Again, those are examples of irregularities. Procedures. No lie, there was a teacher who tried to give the directions from her head. And we found out afterwards. If you forget your booklet, hey, that's okay. We'll just get you a new one. But don't try to wing it, please. Right? Even though we have students who will say, oh, mister, I know what you're going to say to me. Well, you still have to read them every time. All right? So, again, make sure you read straight from that test booklet, testing manual. All right. 23 is training. We're reviewing the manual now. You're in attendance. Oaths. All right. Prepare for testing. Page 26 and 27. We talked about preparing the testing environment. You can have a clock in your room, obviously, so the students know what time. Just not a timer that counts down the minutes and seconds. That's not a good thing. Just a regular analog or digital clock. Make sure their desks are clear and so on. Seating charts. We will, or I take that back, well, Leia or I, we're just going to copy and paste the 30 names from our Excel spreadsheet into your testing roster. You don't even need to write anything down other than where student number 1 sat, and you can just write the number of the student, 1 through 30, in whichever order you decide. So if you decide to go across or down or which way, we're trying not to make any interesting patterns for us, okay? So 1 through 30, whichever direction you like. All right, there's a whole list of supplies that you can have. Dictionaries and thesauruses for English 1 and English 2. Calculators for algebra and biology. You don't need a calculator for U.S. history. All right, next page, number 31. Okay, there are 4 statements that you can read during the test, especially if a student, you notice that a student has nothing written on their answer document, but everything is in their test booklet. You can say, remember that you must record the responses on the answer document. And you can say that to the whole class. You You don't want to go up to little Joey and yell it in his ear, okay? You can say to the whole class. Same thing with stray marks. Be sure to erase any stray marks you might have accidentally made in your answer document. And then page 34, if a student asks you a question about content or how to organize their essay, the only thing you can say, I can't answer that for you, just do the best you can. And then collecting the test materials. Again, when it gets close to the end, you want to say this a couple times. You've not recorded your responses on the answer document. Please go back and mark your answers on it now. Once the test is over, once time is up, they cannot transfer their answers from the booklet to their answer document. That's critical. Everything must be done within 4 hours. Pencils down in 4 hours, or 5. All right. And then, page 41, that is where the actual test administration directions are located. There are these little call-out boxes that kind of draw your attention to some important things. Everything that is in bold in the say directions, those are things that you must say and not skip. Just be really careful that we do not give the modified, nor do we give the star A. So those directions obviously should not be read. We're giving the regular star EOC across the board, except for there are a few of you in here who are going to give star L, but we'll talk about that individually. Okay? Are there any questions at all? None? Okay. What's that? Hey, thanks. That's it, seriously. I really think that's it. What's that? Oh yeah, county district number. If you fill that in on your oath, it is on page 3. It's 057-910-003. That's located on here, and that's what gets written on your oath.
Send your paperwork.
057-910-003.
And then finally, what's that?
Does everybody sign the bottom?
No, do not sign the bottom unless you are giving an oral administration. Okay? And just very quickly, I gotta thank Leah. Leah has been unbelievable in helping me put this all together. So we gotta thank Leah. Alright, my administrative team. If you've noticed, I haven't responded to any calls for cell phones, discipline. I shovel them all either to Howard or anyone walks by my office. So they have taken my alpha to deal with discipline until this fun is over. All right, so I got to thank them. And also, Miss George and Miss Keller, they took 3 full days out of the classroom to do all of the SPED accommodations, paperwork. They prepared rosters, gathered all the materials, and helped me put together an enormous amount of stuff to make sure that the first week of December runs smoothly. So we got to give them a hand as well. Okay, any other questions? Come see me. Anyone else? Anyone else have anything?
You must go.